Fair is foul, and foul is fair. Fair is foul, and foul is fair.
This weekend is fulfilled with an extraordinary production, Macbeth Shakespeare, here at the Junction, Alserkel Avenue. And I'm delighted to talk to the crew and to executive producer of the play, Omid Honari. Omid, I know that there was a lot of hard work done during a very short period of time. As a result, all the tickets for the 3 performances are sold out. How do you feel right now witnessing this great success?
Well, first of all, let me start by acknowledging the real talent that drove this show to success and its continued success throughout the weekend, and that's the Bronx crew. They are definitively and arguably the most talented group of performers and directors around, and I'm genuinely proud to even be standing by their side. Standing by their side, I quote Isaac Newton, who says, "I see far because I stand on the shoulders of giants." These guys are giants, and anyone.
Mine actually literally is.
So let me tell you why people are coming to this show, why the performances are sold out, and why tonight will be sold out as a concluding performance. There's something magical about what's going on here. This play, Shakespeare's Macbeth, was first performed in 1606. It's a multi-layered story that explores every imaginable theme intrinsic to the human condition, from greed to unbridled ambition, to wrongdoings, to hints of repentance, to reformation and rebirth. Everything is right here within about 2 hours to experience and to feel, and that's where I'll pause to feel. When I was growing up, going to the theatre, I walked away feeling things, and I don't want the young generation to miss that now. You know that moment where someone special for the first time says I love you, and you know that'll never be repeated, and the magic of the moment lingers? When you're in a theatre, it's not captured on film forever, and it's not going to be reperformed. You're living the truth of that moment forever. And that's why this is important. That's why Macbeth is important. From 1606 to today, turn on the news and you'll see the themes play out. This is what lets you and the younger generation understand the truth about the human condition and what we can do to get it right.
Such a beautiful word, such a beautiful comments. Yes,
It's so interesting you say that about the younger generation, because we were just talking to Omid, one of our actors who plays Banquo, and it seems last night a young boy came up and was like, please can I get a picture with you because I want to be like Banquo when I grow up, which is amazing. Because Banquo's inspiration. Yeah, like he's a good person and all this, so that's absolutely true. Like coming and watching this stuff, it's timeless, it'll transcends any barriers of any kind, so yeah, absolutely.
thank you, sir. And do you think that does this play has any moral or teaching any particular lesson?
I think it does, but I invite everyone to see it and experience it for themselves. One thing that I get away from this play is the black and the white, the day and the night, the yin and the yang, the truth and the lie are possibly a little bit more blurred than any of us truly want to acknowledge. But once we acknowledge that, we can err on the side of the good. Agree? Disagree?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And my last question. I'm sure that you already have in mind the thoughts about the next production. Would you like to share, yes, what it can be and where it can be?
You can see the excitement already.
You want me to say?
Yeah, you say it, yes.
It's gonna be the most badass Romeo and Juliet with the music of Queen that you have ever seen in your life.
We can't wait, but we are going still to enjoy a last performance at 7:30 p.m. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lydia, hi, good afternoon. How do you feel? Lady Macbeth, what do you feel right now?
Well, right now, just coming off the stage, you kind of have to shake it off because her last scene is, you know, before she kills herself, she goes a bit crazy. So there's a lot of emotions that are churning, and you just have to like shake it off, get a hug, make a joke, something, because everything's buzzing. Everything gets buzzing through your whole body.
Absolutely, and I know that Shakespeare didn't put too many lines into the role of the Lady Macbeth, but what made her so memorable?
I think what everybody really gloms onto about Lady Macbeth is that she is the impetus that pushes Macbeth over the edge. She's the one that really has her needles into him and gets him to go further, kill the king, and then he's on this bloody path that at the end she actually can't stop and she can't control him anymore.
Absolutely, and we know that Shakespeare language is not very common even for those for whom English is a native language. So why people came here today, why they watch Macbeth?
I think that Shakespeare, even though the way that his speech is not common, his plays revolve around the human condition, and it revolves around what it is to be human. And everybody, no matter where you're from, no matter what culture or language you speak, you know what it is to be a human and to be alive. And so seeing someone love, seeing someone pain, seeing someone grieve, seeing someone be greedy or ambitious or want power, like we can all resonate with that in our lives. And I think that that's why audiences all over the world continue to go back to see Shakespeare plays.
Absolutely, Lydia. I know you need some rest before the third performance, but it was just outstanding. I watched it yesterday and I just literally couldn't breathe. It was so magnificent. Thank you. Now with me one of the witches, and if we enter the hall, we can see the interaction before the performance starts with the witches. And I know that it's the most complicated for the actor to interact so closely with the audience. So when you see the reactions of the fear or the laughs or like surprise, like what do you feel? What can still make you concentrate and be in your role?
I think it helps when you prepare before you even go on stage. Your preparation, your finding your character, finding that balance, and just understanding that fine line of concentration and breaking character is a very thin line. And I think it gives you a little bit more, I would say, bravado when you see how people react towards you, their fear, their reactions on their faces. Some people aren't scared to interact with you. That makes you feel like it's so immersive, like you're part of them, yet you're still playing something different. So for me, that's always a very fun part to get in, and it helps me zone into the characters so much more, to just be completely in between everybody.
Oh, that's great. That's so magnificent. And who do you think in the play the main villains? Witches, Macbeth, or Lady Macbeth?
That's so interesting. To be honest, I think that the witches are the main villains purely just because they're always stirring something and they're always up to something treacherous and trying to string things together. So I don't think necessarily Lady Macbeth is the villain here. I don't think Macbeth is the villain, but I think that they are pushed into that sort of little bubble because the witches so want them to be, and they prophesy as to how things are going to play off. So I definitely think that that is completely the witch's role.
All right. So do you think that they want to harm the Macbeth? They don't want to help him?
I don't think they necessarily want to help him. I don't think necessarily that they want to harm him either. I think that they are just stirring and sort of planting seeds and to see how things will play out and how he'll react and act to everything that's been said and prophesied to him. So I don't think they necessarily go out to try and harm him. I think they try and sort of push him in the direction where they see things could play out.
Thank you so much. It was an incredible performance. Thank you. Another brilliant actor of this magnificent performance of Macbeth here with me now. And I would like to ask you about your role and how you feel after the second performance.
Yeah, I feel really good. Yeah, it feels great. The role itself is it's a really interesting role, but it's a really challenging role as well. I think Macduff is like, he's supposed to be the opposite of Macbeth the whole way through. So when Macbeth loses his morals and his mind, Macduff is always doing the right thing throughout the show. So I think they kind of they're opposites of each other. Yeah.
So why did you kill Macbeth?
Well, not only because he killed my family, all my children and my wife, but because I think he would have done it anyway. I think Macduff would have always done the right thing, and the right thing was that Malcolm was the rightful king, and he would have made that happen, whether or not his children and wife were murdered or not. That's why he went to England in the first place, to go get Malcolm, because he knew he was the rightful king.
All right, and I know that this is the male role. So how did you feel about playing a male, and why the decision was made to transform and perform into the role of the female for that?
I think from the very start, Meg and I wanted to cast a female to play Macduff. And throughout the rehearsals, we didn't gender the character. We just kind of wanted to see what would happen, how much masculinity to put into it and how much femininity to put into it, because he does have his ups and downs in parts where you see his brave, strong side, and then other parts where he's broken because his family's dead. And I always saw him as like if Macbeth was the epitome of toxic masculinity, Macduff was every good thing about a man. So they were the kind of things that I was trying to embody when playing the character. I wasn't really tied down I guess it is a male, and I think I was playing it male, but I wasn't tying myself down to the gender of it. I was more thinking about the masculinity and the femininity.
Here now with me, Mario, Macbeth. saw this transformation from being hero to complete tyrant during the play. What did you feel at that moment during this evolving period of the play?
Well, evolving, that's definitely something that has to be very carefully planted. It's also a matter of showing hint of it at the beginning, so like this character has the capability of doing these kind of things, but it is also very important, like you said, it's a tragic hero, right? So he has to be a hero at the beginning, and then we have to see the tyrant at the end, the full contrast, right? Black and white. And I guess throughout the process, the only thing I can really do is justify why I'm doing this, why I'm changing from moment to moment.
All right, but why do you think Macbeth followed what Lady Macbeth told to him? It's because of love, because of pride, because of shame, ambition? What was that?
Well, definitely I would say it's greed, primarily because when the witches first come to Macbeth and they offer him more than he thought he would get, then it's like he gets a taste of it and he wants to keep going and going and going. Now, there's a line that Lady Macbeth actually delivers, which we believe is kind of like the last, sort of the last effort that she makes, that she knows is going to get him, because she says that she had a baby. So we bring up the fact that we had a baby and we lost that baby, and it's like she manipulates me. She manipulates me, you know, with my manhood. She manipulates me with the baby. So that is when you see the click. And everything that she says is quite justified. And then it's also my job after that to sort of, I mean, once the first murder happens, all my lines after that say, well, I've already done that, so now I gotta do the next. And then I do the next, and I say, well, now I've done that one, so I gotta do the next. And it just goes and goes and goes. Before he knows it, he is this hellhound who I believe he's sort of like, he believes that's his prophecy. So he takes not just pride in it, but this is who he is. This is who he is. This is who he's become, and everybody around him, either they accept that or they take the edge of the sword.
Absolutely, that's interesting. But by the end, you said it's like, yes, there is no boundaries anymore. So by the end, what caused the Macbeth's breakdown?
The breakdown in the last scene, well, definitely once his wife kills himself. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't read the play. I think that is definitely, I mean, I was working closely with Lady Macbeth, Lydia Medeiros, and we've worked together a lot. We really trust each other. And she pointed that out to me, that, you know, this is, once that happens, he has nothing left. He has no children. He has no friends. That's why after I hear that, I say that as well. I say, look, I have nothing left. I got nothing. This is it. Let's go. And I'm definitely not going to yield because he's too proud, obviously, and he doesn't believe that's his destiny. So that's why the last scene goes the way that it goes.